This is Dr. Tamikia LeGrand, 9th President of the Prairie View A&M University.
Join us as we journey toward excellence, toward eminence.
You are listening to 91.3 KPVU. Excellence lives here.
It always has, and it always will.
Welcome to Advancing the Hill, the official podcast of the Division of University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. This podcast is a space where we will celebrate the people, partnerships, and philanthropy that move Prairie View A&M University forward. Each episode, we'll share the stories behind the impact, from students and alumni to donors and campus leaders, highlighting how we are advancing opportunity, excellence, and legacy on the Hill. So whether you're a proud alum, a current student, or a friend of the Hill, this conversation is for you. I am your host, Lorie Proctor, Director of the Annual Fund and Alumni Giving. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Advancing the Hill. Again, I am your host, Lorie Proctor, Director of the Annual Fund and Alumni Giving here at Prairie View A&M University. And I am excited to welcome you to the very first episode of this limited podcast series. As we celebrate I Love My HBCU Month, this limited podcast series is helping us build momentum towards PVAMU's Day of Giving on April 6th. Throughout this series, we'll be sharing stories and insights that help our Panther community better understand how philanthropy and engagement help create opportunities for our students and strengthen the future of Prairie View. And with that, we felt there was no better place to begin than with the division that makes so much of that possible, University Advancement. Today, I am joined by someone who helps lead that work and shapes the vision behind it. Mr. Jeff Shaw, Vice President for University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. As Vice President, Mr. Shaw oversees the university's fundraising, alumni engagement, and philanthropic partnerships, all of which play a critical role in advancing the mission of Prairie View A&M and supporting student success. Mr. Shaw, welcome to Advancing the Hill.
Thank you, Lorie. I really appreciate that. That was a wonderful introduction. So I'm happy to be here.
All right. So let's get started with the foundation. Many people hear the term university advancement, but they may not fully understand what that actually means. Would you describe the role of university advancement at Prairie View A&M University?
Absolutely. So university advancement is basically a term that kind of describes how the university advances itself. And it advances itself through multiple ways. So one is through alumni relations, also through development, which is also called fundraising, and also through the Prairie View A&M Foundation, which is considered the charitable giving arm of the university. All of those entities should be moving in the same direction to advance the university, so it falls under the umbrella of advancement. Now, prior to a little over a year ago, those different areas were operating independently, but now they all work together.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the different areas within advancement specifically and how they work together to support Prairie View?
Absolutely. So when we look at alumni relations is really dedicated to creating engagement opportunities for our alumni. We want our alumni to not only feel good about the education that they receive, but we also want them to feel like it's okay for them to come back, assist the university, participate in events, and just be able to support the university in the ways that they see fit. And alumni relations is kind of like the vehicle we use to make all of those things happen, to feel good about their time here at the university and how they're going to help support. When we talk about development, we're really looking at the fundraising aspect. We're looking at how do we get individuals, alumni, friends, corporations, foundations, how do we get them to make investments in the university to help move our university forward? So we create all types of giving opportunities, but then we also create ways for them to feel good about their giving so that they know that the money that they've used or the money that they've given to the university also is moving the mission forward. And we try to provide them with the types of reports and things to make them feel good about their giving. So development helps create all of that activity. And then when we talk about the Prairie View A&M Foundation, what we're talking about is the 501c3 charitable giving arm of the university, where all the university gifts flow through the foundation so that when people give, they're giving to an accredited 501c3 so that all of their gifts are tax deductible. And those funds are being managed in a way that's consistent with all the giving practices that we should have so that people feel good about their gifts and know that their gifts are being managed in an effective way.
So, Mr. Shaw, as you talked about the PVAMU Foundation along with the other areas in advancement, again, some people hear that foundation and they really aren't sure what that means and what it does for the university. So can you help us just understand a little bit more about the foundation, its founding, its background, and really understanding its role in advancing the Hill?
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. I'm glad. That's a great question. So the foundation was established in 2009, and originally what the foundation was established to do was to create a vehicle by which the university could raise funds for whatever the initiatives were of the university to advance its mission. Now, one of the first projects that came out of that was the Prairie View A&M Athletic Stadium. The Prairie View A&M Foundation, what they did is they started working on building funds to build that stadium. And then once they got the momentum going for the stadium, then other investors and things came in to help finalize the fundraising project for that. So really the foundation really initiated that project to get it off the ground. So we really credit them for creating that stadium or helping to assist in getting that stadium going. However, as time has matured, we've gotten to the point where we actually signed an affiliation agreement with the foundation so that right now there's an official affiliation between the university and the foundation to where the foundation acts as the 501c3 charitable giving arm for the university. Now, what does that mean and how does that help? Well, one, it helps in the sense that now we have an official 501c3 so that all gifts are tax deductible. And a lot of charities, organizations, foundations, corporations, they want to give to a 501c3. So if we didn't have a 501c3, it would be hard for us to accept some gifts. The other reason why it's important is because now we have a centralized location to receive all of our gifts to the university. Before that, gifts may come in various ways. They may have come to the university, they may have come to the foundation, they may have come to the NAA, they may have come through a lot of different vehicles. But now, when it's time for us to count how many donors do we have, how many alumni donors do we have, how many corporations and foundations are given to the university, and what is the overall impact of donations to the university? Well, now we can produce those types of reports because we have one centralized location to count those donations coming in. When we didn't have that before, it was really hard to determine the impact of giving at the university. And one of the things that we know is we know that Prairie View alum give to the university. We know that. But if we had to calculate how many alum have given to the university, if they're giving in multiple ways, then we don't always know. Having this foundation really helps us capture. Now we know how many alumni are given to the university. And that's very impactful in our standings among other universities, now that we can calculate that.
That's awesome. So, of course, that's a big part of our work and what we do in advancement. So when we talk about philanthropy and being philanthropic, talk to us a little bit more about what that philanthropic support, why is it so important to institutions like PV, and why is it so important to institutions, specifically HBCUs?
So, as we probably already know, Prairie View A&M University is a state-funded university like many others. The only thing about being a state-funded university is the state is only going to provide you with enough money to keep the doors open and keep the lights on. It's not going to advance you to being great. It's just going to make sure that you survive. So we depend on the philanthropy of our corporations, of our foundations, and of our alumni, so that if we're going to go to that status of being great and that status of excellence that we talk about, it's going to rest on the backs of philanthropy, because the state money is only going to get us so far. So when we look at other universities that have great programs and great facilities and great resources, it's because the alumni and donors are helping them push them to that area of greatness. We want the same thing for Prairie View. We want that same level of excellence that we see in other places. Now, right now, we do have a lot of great supporters to the university, but the only way for us to continue that is for our donors to continue to give, for our corporations and foundations to continue to find reasons to support Prairie View. So without that philanthropic support, we're not going to be able to maintain that level of excellence because the state will not do it for us by itself.
This is Lorie Proctor, and you're listening to Advancing the Hill.
Panther Nation, mark your calendar. Monday, April 6th is PVAMU Day of Giving. Let's come together and connect our pride to purpose. Visit pvamu.edu/Day of Giving and support Prairie View A&M University today.
91.3 KPVU, Prairie View A&M University.
Welcome back to Advancing the Hill, and we are here with Mr. Shaw, Vice President of University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. So as Vice President of University Advancement, what is your vision for this division, and how is it going to help Prairie View move forward?
We've created a strategic plan for our division. And our strategic plan is broken into a few parts. So one is culture. When we talk about culture for the division, what we're saying is we want to make sure that philanthropy and giving back to the university just becomes embedded in the culture of our alumni. We want them to feel like, because I graduated from Prairie View, I have a responsibility to give back. Much like when we go to church. When we go to church, we know that part of going to church is giving. Well, we also want part of being an alum of Prairie View A&M University is giving. So we want to bake that into the culture so that it feels natural to give back to your university. The other thing is influence. We want to make sure that there's a certain level of influence that Prairie View has in the community, that we have great brand recognition, that people understand who we are, what we're doing, and where we're trying to go with things that we do. The other is resources and revenue. We want to make sure that we're consistently bringing in the right type of revenue to the university to advance the mission that Dr. LeGrand has put in place. And then last is structure. We want to make sure that we're creating the right type of infrastructure, the right type of resources so that we can perform the things that we say that we're going to do. So my overall vision for the university is to basically be able to raise funds for the university that is consistent with the mission that we put in place, and that we're able to do that on a consistent basis, and that we're not always just dependent on what we receive in state funds and tuition, and that we're able to move ourselves into a level of greatness.
So I'm glad you really talked about how the work that we're doing in advancement really aligns to not only just our division strategic plan, but the overall university strategic plan, Dr. LeGrand's plan, the Journey to Eminence. So as we think about that, let's talk about our alumni, our donors and supporters, and how we can help them understand how their gift and their giving truly makes a difference to the institution. So when alumni and friends or partners invest in Prairie View, what kinds of opportunities are they creating for our students?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're always looking for is areas of opportunity for scholarships and endowments. Of course, scholarships are ways that we're able to award our students funds to help bridge the gap between what they may be receiving in financial aid or whatever their parents can give, between them being able to fulfill their tuition needs. So we're always looking for scholarship opportunities to help our students. And then another way that we do that is in the form of endowments. So endowments are those legacy gifts. Those are those gifts that go on in perpetuity, but they also create scholarships. So a scholarship endowment, you set it up once, and once you set it up, the distribution or the entrance earnings off of those endowments will create scholarships in perpetuity. So we're always looking for those types of opportunities. But on top of those things, on top of scholarships and top of endowments, we have things like programs that we have. There's various programs at the university that can be funded. We have leadership programs. We have entrepreneurship programs. We have programs in every school and college that can be enhanced with giving. So we're always looking for ways to enhance or create new programs. And then what we also have is we have naming opportunities at the university. We have buildings, we have classrooms, we have labs, we have conference rooms. These are things that can be branded with names of people in memorial or people that have done great things with the university, so that we can work with families to create these naming opportunities, to create legacies here at the university. So there's all sorts of ways to support the university. And then we also have athletics. We have a wonderful athletics program with 16 different sports running through athletics, and athletics always needs support. So we would love for people to support the athletic program here at the university. We've had a great 2025 in athletics that a lot of people know of.
Yes, we did.
And, imagine what we can do if we have more resources to support their program. So that's another area that can always use support. So there's various ways to support the university. And then we also have what you manage, Ms. Proctor, which is the annual fund. And the annual fund speaks to those unrestricted dollars that the university always needs to be able to move on projects that are unpredicted or we haven't thought of just yet. Those things that we may need to move on just at a moment's notice. But if everything is wrapped up in restricted funding, if everything is for a scholarship or if everything is for a program, it makes it very difficult to move on things that are not that have not been designated yet. But if we have a nice pool of unrestricted funds, which is the annual fund, then if something comes up that the president seems as an important project, we can move on it right away if we have those unrestricted funds. So the annual fund is always a great way to create a nice pool of funds that the university can use on whatever it needs at whatever time they need to use it.
This is Lorie Proctor, and you're listening to Advancing the Hill.
Panther Nation, mark your calendar. Monday, April 6th is PVAMU Day of Giving. Let's come together and connect our pride to purpose. Visit pvamu.edu/Day of Giving and support Prairie View A&M University today.
91.3 KPVU, Prairie View A&M University.
Welcome back to Advancing the Hill, and we are here with Mr. Shaw, Vice President of University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. So, Mr. Shaw, in hearing those various opportunities that donors have to support the institution, what I'm also hearing is how impactful those dollars can be. So, again, that's something we talk about in advancement all the time, is about that we are providing individuals with opportunity to create and make impact. So from your perspective, how do donors translate, or how do their gifts translate into real impact for our Prairie View students?
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of times people think of impact. When they think about impact, when it pertains to philanthropy, they think of the big dollars. They think of the Mackenzie Scott gift is a very impactful gift, or transformational gift, or if I set up an endowment or a huge scholarship, that's impactful. And they are very impactful gifts. But what people fail to realize is that those small gifts add up to larger donations, and that can be very impactful as well. If we look at and I'll use a perfect example. When Obama was running for president, Obama had a very, very strong grassroots ground swelling of donors. And these are the $50, the $100, the $25 people. And he had thousands of those people giving at that level. And that really moved the needle for his campaign. Well, those are the types of donors that we're looking for as well. We're not looking for all of the big donors. We're looking for those smaller donors as well, because the more of those we have, that can create huge impact. And then the other thing that we also look for is some donors have what we call recurring gifts. They'll give every month, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be $10, $15, $20, but they're doing it on a consistent basis to where those dollars truly add up to create impact. So when we talk about impact, we're not talking about the large, major gifts, but what we're also talking about is consistency and just being able to be a part of giving to the university, because it all adds up.
Most definitely does. Again, being over the annual fund, there are times where everyone's like, well, I don't have that $1,000. I don't have that $5,000 to give. But it's really those individuals who are making those monthly donations that are really making some major moves. And when you look at that over years, those become our top donors. They really become those individuals who've been consistent with it. So what we do know is that here at Prairie View, Panther Nation has a deep love and pride for its university. Really talk to us about what you want alumni and supporters to understand about the power of their giving.
Well, one of the things that I want alumni to understand is that there's a thing that they look at when it comes to universities in general, but also at HBCUs, is what is your alumni giving rate? And your alumni giving rate is basically looking at how many alums are giving back to your university versus how many living alumni that you actually have out there. And if you have a good percentage of alumni giving back, then that helps with the ranking of your university. Your university is ranked on your alumni giving. Now, when we say alumni giving, we're not talking about how much you're giving. We're just talking about how many alums are actually giving back, whether they gave $1 or whether they gave $1 million. They're just counting how many have done it. And if we're able to show that we have a lot of alumni giving back, then that shows that people are pleased with the education that they got with the university. They're happy with their university. And now these people like U.S. News and World Report can go out and say, Prairie View is a great school to go to because it looks like the alumni that graduated from there are very pleased with their education. But the way they're calculating that is the number of alumni that are giving back. So if you want to improve the standing of where we are in the list of universities to attend, then giving is a great way to help boost that number. But not only just that, money is just a part of it. Engagement is another part of it. You know, we're always looking for alumni to come back volunteer, give their time, their talent, their treasure back to the university, help mentor some of these young students that are coming out, and just let them know that there's a whole family of alum that are out there that are willing to support them as they start their careers. So giving back of your time, mentoring, working with our students is also a huge part of what we look for our alumni, because we just want them to be engaged. And there's a ton of students that are here that are actually waiting for some alum to reach out and touch them and say, hey, I'd love to help you in your journey, your professional journey. So having that type of stuff really, really makes a difference for us. So it's not just the money, but it's also the time, talent, and treasures as well.
This is Lorie Proctor, and you're listening to Advancing the Hill.
This is Dr. Tamikia LeGrand, 9th president of the Prairie View A&M University.
Join us as we journey toward excellence, toward eminence.
You are listening to 91.3 KPVU. Excellence lives here.
It always has, and it always will.
Hi, this is Lonnie Love, actress, author, and co-host of E's Daily Pop. And I'm also the host of Cafe Mocha here on 91.3 KPVU. And as a proud alumni of Prairie View A&M University, I'm asking you to support one of my favorite Houston radio stations, KPVU, during the fundraising campaign. Now, if you appreciate the diversity of the music played here and engaging talk shows like Cafe Mocha, make sure these programs continue. Make a donation today at kpvu.org. Your generous support will help us continue to bring you the relevant music and information you enjoy the most without limitations. Thank you for listening.
91.3 KPVU, Prairie View A&M University.
Welcome back to Advancing the Hill, and we are here with Mr. Shaw, Vice President of University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. PVAMU's Day of Giving is coming up on April the 6th. Tell us, why is a day like this so very important for the university?
So having a Day of Giving has become even more and more important over the years just for universities in general, because it's a day to kind of bring everybody together to say, hey, here's the time to support the university. I know, as an alum, you may see emails, you may see things out there on the web all the time, and you may see other stuff that comes out that talks about charitable giving and Giving Tuesdays, and you're always being flooded with different things or different charities to give to. But what we've tried to do is we've tried to say, for Prairie View A&M University, there is a day that we would love for our alums to focus on and take a look at making a donation to the university. If you've ever thought about making a gift, if you have made a gift before, if you're one of our consistent givers, we want to galvanize all of those people in on one day and say, hey, here's the day to celebrate Prairie View A&M and make a gift today. And the reason that's so important is because if we're able to do that, then we can focus a lot of our fundraising for the year on one day. And then once we've done that, then we can do other things throughout the year to advance the mission forward based upon the monies that we've raised. So it's really important to have that one day where we all come together. And as we go through this over the course of the month, we'll have series like these. We'll have more conversations. We'll have videos from students that talk about why is it so important to give, but being able to culminate that into one day and say, here's the day to make your gift, I think is really important.
So, Mr. Shaw, for someone who may be listening today who loves Prairie View, but may have never made a gift before, what would you say to encourage them to get involved?
So there's a couple of things that I would say to that. So thank you for asking that question. One is there's never a day that we don't have students that need funds, right? We always have students that need funds. And there are students that are in school that just want to make a better way for themselves. And if they come to us and they say, I really need a scholarship, or I really need some additional funds, or maybe I just need something to get me over the hump because there's a small gap between what I can actually pay and what my tuition is, or maybe I have a balance from a previous semester that I won't be able to register again unless I get that balance paid. So, and a lot of times these are not huge dollars. Sometimes it's as little as $300, $500 that may be stopping them from moving forward in their educational career. So those dollars really, really make a difference. When we're able to save students that want an education, and we're able to help them out with those dollars that we need. And then the other thing is, like I talked about before, is just being represented as an alumni, an alumnus that gives back to your university really helps the way we're seen by other colleges and universities as an institution that people would want to attend. If we have a high alumni giving rate, then that just shows that we're doing all the right things at our university, education-wise and philanthropically. And those types of things make a difference in how people see us. So if people are thinking about making a gift, they're on the fence about making a gift, just know that that gift that you make could change the life of a student dramatically. And you may not get a chance to meet that student, but just know that students' lives are being changed through philanthropic gifts.
So, Mr. Shaw, I just want to take a moment just to say thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your insights about the opportunities and the important work that's happening within university advancement, and to thank you for your leadership in providing and helping connect Panther Pride with meaningful opportunities for our students.
So, Lorie, one of the things that I did want to mention is we've talked a lot about how people can contribute during the Day of Giving. Mm-hmm. And you can always go to our website at pvamu.edu/Day of Giving. But some of you out there may have questions about some of the things that we talked about. So some of the things we talked about is, how do I go about setting up an endowment, or how do I set up that scholarship? Or if there are naming opportunities out there, how do I go about doing that? And then we also have things like plan gift or estate planning and things like that. So those things may not just be addressed on our website where you just go to give, but there may be things that you have questions about. So I do want to be able to provide people with the opportunity to ask questions as well. Because if you're on the fence and you're thinking about certain things, you can always call our office at 936-261-1550, or you can send us an email to development@pvamu.edu, and you can get those questions answered so that if you don't know exactly what it is that you're trying to do, but you know you want to do something, and having your questions answered can help you get over that hump, please contact us and we'll also walk you through those as well.
I do want to open up a chance for you just to give some final words or some final thoughts in regards to your work here in University Advancement, where you see us going, and what's next for the Hill.
Okay, so I thank you, Lorie, for this opportunity to speak. I would like to say that as the Vice President of University Advancement, I just want to point out a few things that I've seen. I've seen a lot of great alumni support. So any advancement that we've seen in alumni giving and philanthropy is because of alum like you that are listening right now. I just want to say thank you to all the alum that are giving back, because we've seen an increase in giving. We've seen a huge increase. Let me just put that out there. We've seen a huge increase in giving. So the fact that we've asked and you all have responded is a great testament to the things that we're doing here. So I want to say thank you. But I also want to say please continue that, because we have a lot of things coming up. We have the 150th anniversary coming up this year. We're going to need that type of support. We're going to need you to continue to give back. And then we have record enrollment, which means that we have more students attending Prairie View than we've ever had in the past, which means that we need more assistance than we've ever had in the past. So we really want you to continue to give. We're doing a lot of great things here in advancement in the way of how we're working with our donors, how we're stewarding our donors, how we're creating reports for our donors, and just how we're making those types of connections with our donors. We're doing a lot of great work, and we're doing that because we want you to feel good about the gifts that you make. We want you to also trust us in how you're making your gifts and knowing that we're doing the right things, and we're making a lot of great strides in those areas. And as we continue to do that, we just want you to continue to give back in the way that you have, and continue to show up for Prairie View in the way that you have, and continue to show that Panther pride. So again, I say thank you, and thank you, Lorie, for having me here today.
Again, for those who are listening, as we continue celebrating I Love My HBCU Month, we invite you to be a part of this momentum. Again, PVAMU Day of Giving is April the 6th, and with your support, it helps provide scholarships, strengthen programs, and create opportunities for the next generation of Panthers. So to learn more and to make your gift, you can visit pvamu.edu/Day of Giving. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us for this very first episode. I am Lorie Proctor, Director of the Annual Fund and Alumni Giving. And until next time, Panther Nation, keep advancing the Hill.
Advancing the Hill, written and produced by the Division of University Advancement at Prairie View A&M University. Engineered and edited by 91.3 KPVU, the sound of excellence.